Welcome to Mafia, a new podcast telling stories of America's criminal underworld.
Gotti assumed the position of head of the Gambino family.
And using the name Donnie Brasco, I was able to infiltrate the Bonanno crime family in New York City.
Bugsy Siegel is an American mob legend.
One man changed the whole texture and landscape of crime in America.
Listen to Mafia every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your favorite shows.
I did enjoy the part right here at the beginning, though, where she goes to, like, grab food off his plate. And he's like, seriously, get the fuck off my plate.
Yeah.
Order the amount of food you want to eat. That's how fucking restaurants work. Like, this was an important message for everybody.
Well, their weird banter back and forth as she tries to take his food, and he's like, that's my food. To which she playfully throws meat in his eyes. I wanted him to, like, pull out a katana. It just escalated, Rich. Like, oh, fuck, was that steak juice? Gotcha.
God-awful movies.
Welcome back to the GAMcast, where each week we sample another selection from Christian cinema because I was sick of not being able to piss people off with my business card. I'm your host, Noah Lugeons, and sitting to my immediate left is my good friend Heath Enwright. Heath, welcome back.
Thanks, Noah. Quick question. Can we do like a rollover minutes thing with our one this week? I feel like we're going to need an advance on some future ones, too. So, like, they both count. For this one.
Heath is going to be really racially sensitive for like 9 episodes after this one. He promises.
Okay.
And sitting 81 miles to my right is my bad friend Eli Bosnick. Eli, how are you this fine afternoon, sir?
I feel like we haven't really reached out to white supremacists on this show, and it's good. It's good. Going to expand our audience.
Already Richard Spencer's favorite episode. So I suppose we should give this some context. Heath, tell us, what will we be breaking down today?
All right. We watched, if you liked it, you should have put a ring on it.
That's not exactly.
It's something like that. Yeah. We watched Don't Touch It If You Ain't Prayed.
That's even worse.
That is worse. It's the story of a guy who somehow knew we'd do this podcast, so he made a Christian movie full of racist caricatures just to make us feel awkward right now. Successfully.
Oh, yes. And Eli, how bad was this movie?
Well, if you love 40-Year-Old Virgin, but hated all the jokes and wished everyone was actually way older than 40, you will love this movie.
This was 40-Year-Old Virgin, except the movie makers didn't get the joke.
Right.
They don't understand what's funny about that. All right, so we've already kind of hinted around about this, but do you think that this episode needs any advanced trigger warnings? I said trigger warnings.
Pretty sure I'm going to make some kind of SPLC list for this episode, so if you're Facebook friends with me, you might want to it's going to get ugly. So lawsuit. Andrew, you might want to buy like a tub of Tums, like the one they have at the hospital.
Yeah, I don't even feel like I can say the name of this movie without being racist. Eli, would you care to share with the listeners the title that you gave this episode in the notes?
I'm racist. The movie is racist? Both.
And boy, do you get it early. All right, so I fear that we're either going to have to consign ourselves to this racism or just pretend that the grandpa character doesn't exist. So, I mean, should we just address him up front? Or
he makes Eddie Murphy in The Clumps look racially sensitive and tasteful.
Oh,
he makes Eddie Murphy in Raw look racially sensitive and tasteful.
Oh, I get it, Eddie. Gay men often do exhibit lisps. You're so funny.
This actor was just watching Eddie Murphy Raw, and he was like, all right, I'm going to take it up a little bit.
So fucking bad. Yeah, this man just walks around in life perpetually starring in his own minstrel show. It's like a minstrel Truman show kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, is there anything you guys want to nominate this one for being the best at being the worst at?
I'm going to say best worst choice of ages for cast members. This movie has a grandfather, a father, a 40-year-old daughter, and her little sister, who I think is supposed to be in high school, right? And all of these actors are the exact same age.
Well, but they put gray hair on the grandpa, though.
Is this a sequel to Cocoon? If it's like Cocoon 8, we did one for black people, I get it.
Sounds like a racial slur.
There are no black people in Cocoon. I haven't seen it.
And Eli, you got any
black people in Cocoon?
You got to really emphasize the "ka" at the beginning, yeah. So, you got any best worst nominations? Quick, but on a clean edit.
Yes. Can I go with best rocket powered daughter? There is a 24-year-old, 365-pound daughter in this movie who is supposed to be playing a 7-year-old, and she gets launched out of a cannon into every scene in this movie. Just, Daddy!
She, as though there were a Wile E. Coyote means of acceleration. Yeah, no shit. She is shot out of a giant T-shirt cannon on screen into a hug every time she appears. I wanted to go with, and this is something that we've seen a lot. It's sort of a trope in Christian movies, but I don't think any movie has ever gone this far with it. Best worst, never acknowledging the villain. Right? Okay.
Wait, who is the villain?
The fucking main guy.
Absolutely the guy.
He's a Bond level villain.
He is a drug dealer who begins the movie by being like, "Hey, I'll beat the shit out of you," to his wife. And then the movie's just like,
he's about to go on a date with this other chick.
She was being a real bitch, though. Like, guys, it's not. That is the movie's point of view. The movie's point of view is like, look, if your wife is going crazy, you might have to threaten to beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if we sat the producer of this movie down and made that accusation, he'd be like, he didn't do it. You're the one. I
mean, he shook her by the throat a little bit, but that was all. Yeah, this is another one of those, this is the story of how we met, and we talked to all our friends in church into making a movie about it with us. And once again, there's nothing interesting about how these two met. But in this instance, the male protagonist is an absolute shit human on every level, and they make zero effort to disguise this fact.
Nope.
Right? He's like the Trump candidacy of male protagonists.
But will he redeem himself? We'll find out.
And let's point out that this character's arc is he will leave his wife for you. This is the first he will leave his wife for you movie in history.
Where that's the good guy, yes. All right, well, something tells me there's going to be an awful lot of editing to do once this record is over, so we'll keep the break brief, and when we come back, we're going to dive into all the racism bait that is Don't Touch If You Ain't Prayed. Like, how racist did it sound, just me saying that in a deep
really
voice?
Racist.
Yeah, what are you saying? Don't touch if you ain't prayed. Marsh. Just read the title, sub it in. See, we're cool.
Hey, podcast listener, are you looking to see your favorite podcast live in your town? Well, hold on to your chili and cheese because God Awful Movies is announcing our world tour. Did you hear that? That's the sound of your dick being blown off. You're welcome. First up, June 10th in New York City. We're back at the People's Improv Theater, rocking so hard we're legally obligated to do a show in Australia just so the planet keeps spinning. Then, on July 8th, we're live in Seattle at the Broadway Performance Hall, where the coffee is strong, but the berm is stronger. But hold on to your shit, because that's not all. Just in time for Halloween, we're hitting Salt Lake City on October 1st to team up once again with Mark and Dan from Thank God I'm Atheist. It'll be so funny, it's scary. That wolf just exploded. We're going to be adding even more dates and cities, but if you want to grab your tickets now, check the show notes of this episode. But don't wait, these shows will sell out fast, and then we're never coming back. God Awful Movies Live Tour. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Hold on to your shit? What'd you say?
Yeah. Hold on to your shit. See? Morgan gets it.
Hey, folks, want to take a second to give you a heads up about this week's sponsor, BloomThat.com. Now, Mother's Day is just around the corner, and I know many of you are going to wait until the last minute, so to help you plan ahead, our very own Eli Bosnick has written a torch song to help you along.
Oh dear, it's almost Mother's Day. How time just seems to slip away. You're scrambling to find a gift, but nothing ever really seems right. Give Mama something nicer than a shitty oven mitt or frying pan. She'll only say she likes it 'cause it came from you. Please don't make your mama lie when she says, ooh, thank you, it's another scarf. She means, have you fucking ever seen me wearing a scarf? And don't buy her heart-shaped jewelry 'cause it makes her wanna barf. That's what's happening behind her smile. So here's a secret directly from me. BloomThat.com/GOD. Send her flowers for a reasonable fee that won't make your mama lie.
Take advantage of our amazing deal. Go to bloomthat.com/God. That's BLOOMTHAT.com/GOD and find the perfect handcrafted designer flowers. You'll automatically get the free premium designer vase and caramel treats, a $25 value. Again, that's bloomthat.com/God for a premium designer bouquet, free vase, and treats. Don't wait. This amazing offer won't last, and it's only available to our listeners if you go to bloomthat.com/GOD.
A handcrafted bouquet, boutique quality. It's elegant and classy, just take it from me. Go to bloomthat.com/GOD and you won't make your mama lie.
Thank you, Anna. And again, that's bloomthat.com/GOD. And now, back to the show. And we're back for the breakdown, and we're going to start off by learning that Black Jesus is coming in November of 2006.
Do they have their own Jesus? Is that a...
What the hell was that? Was this a preview or a prophecy or a...
Those are they're ninjas on the street corners. They tell me that Jesus was black, but did they make... No one in this movie was dressed like a ninja. Are they the ninjas?
Okay, so for whatever reason, and it's never explained, at the beginning of this movie, or at least as we found it on YouTube, it just comes back and says Jesus is coming in November of 2006, and then the word black comes in front of Jesus. So, and I am not making a racially motivated lack of punctuality joke. I would like to let everyone know that I'm not doing that.
Yeah, Jesus is 11 years late, but we're not saying anything. We're not saying anything. Anyone could be late. White Jesus could be late. Chinese Jesus could be late.
Wait, Jesus is late. He's later than Black Jesus, apparently. He was supposed to show that up in those people's lifetimes. So that was a compliment to you people.
Yeah, when you think of it, we're the opposite of racist. And now, the rest
What is happening right now? You guys are racist.
All right, so after that edit, we're going to start off with a series of title cards that might as well have just been some kid holding them up on poster board saying, look, mommy. Although I did, the first thing I wrote was, take note, Estes Perkle, this is how music goes.
Yeah, and I wrote, by comparison, this is the opposite of the music we heard last week.
And that's going to be a temporary thing, by the way, because this starts off with a woman singing, and quite beautifully. The song is nonsense, but the singing is really good. And so at first I was like, oh, good, we're going to get good music in this one, but that is not going to be the case. We'll talk more about that later.
Nope. There's one other musical number, and it takes a hard turn downhill.
Yeah. Well, even just the background music is just constantly 2 bars repeat, right? It's like the intro if you push like freestyle on the Casio fucking genre or whatever. Yeah.
And we get shots of their church here while she's singing, and there's a white-looking lady who is actually just light-skinned, but they show her twice in an obvious attempt to be like, see, we have whitish people. They're not.
That wasn't a white lady?
No, that was the mom.
She was waving her hand, trying to wave her hand in rhythm, but horribly. She's not even close. She's just like slamming into everybody else. And like,
well, they told her to act white for that scene, I think.
Okay.
No,
I mean, darker means better rhythm. System remains in place, I think. Yeah.
So this just is, and it's going to get worse from here, guys. The snowball is already rolling. And did anyone else notice that they do the crowd shots in this movie the way that Stalin did tank parades? I mean, they keep like panning from right to left, but it's the same pan over and over again. It's the same 4 people. This time you come a little bit further forward, you go a little bit further back.
The tank past the same tree again? Yep.
And then quite abruptly and mid-singing note, the scene ends.
Yes. And the last word of it is sparrow, which the singer pronounces Spiro. Wow.
And it just like also like shouldn't the fucking preacher guy have waited for her to finish singing before he came out there and started praising Jesus? That seems so rude. She's still in the middle of her little fucking soul. Maybe he just realized the word sparrow was never going to fucking end and just came out. I don't know.
So by the way, this movie is made by Larry Flash Jenkins. I think he's one of the actors too. He's a lot of stuff. And my note is, I wonder if Eli wrote anything racist yet.
I did a lot of editing even to the notes. And now we show up in suburbia, and Pamela, our main character, is asleep, and her mom, that is the same age as her, is waking her up.
Okay. And we need to talk about Pamela. All right. Pamela, throughout this movie, looks like George Foreman in a long black wig. Yep. That is the exact image of this human being. It's just George. And no one in the movie is ever like, hey, man, did you kill a guy in the ring? They're just like, there it is. There's Pamela.
Also, what's going on with the bed she's on? We start with her she's sleeping on the extreme edge of what appears to be a king-size bed.
Were there 8 other people on that bed earlier that woke up before her?
Maybe, I don't know, but she's like past the edge. Like the bed has a goiter, and she's on just this like goiter area of the bed. It's really weird.
She looks like the Pokemon Diglett doing drag.
If you say so. I have no idea. Yes, she looks exactly like that, Eli.
Someone at home right now loved that joke. Trust me.
Somebody who loves Pokemon and watched this movie. Okay, so
something about got to catch them all. I don't know.
And now, quite abruptly, again, we're at breakfast with the family.
And we're going to be introduced to her online dating life, which her father asks about by saying, how's that Christian computer thing?
Yeah. Well, they want to make sure this is a Christian movie right away, because she's like, Pam, anytime now before Jesus comes, how's that Christian computer thing going? Blah, blah, blah. But this is also where we meet the sister character and the grandpa character, who we might want to spend a few minutes. I wouldn't mind spending a few minutes with the sister character. I can tell you that.
She's in high school.
Well, yeah, but she's 31.
Yeah. She's older than me. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a pass here. I'm going to make some comments about the daughter later that I'll feel guilty about. But right now, the younger sister, she's fine. She's fine. Yeah, and they are simultaneously, how Christopher Guest gives his actors like one word or one sentence and they build characters off of that? Well, these people were also given that, but they just stuck to the one word. They didn't build the characters. The younger sister was obviously given like pre-African nubiles porno and evidence for white supremacy were the 2 sentences these characters were given.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Grandpa was tough to watch, but before we really get into them, we end up with this weird, because she's talking about her Christian dating site. And we end up with this weird, like, wrong guy montage of all the guys she's met through blackchristianmen.com or whatever.
So amazing. Again, this movie is actually very hard to watch. It's not bad good. It's just bad. But this first montage is definitely worth watching. First, we meet Proud Bird, who is, I think, supposed to be a Jamaican stereotype, but
professional
he just says
stereotype, yeah.
Yeah, he just says, "Me name Proud Bird." Then he stands up out of shot and humps his dick at the camera and yells the word Proud Bird. Just Proud Bird, Proud Bird, Proud Bird.
Yeah, well, they go through like 5 guys like this as though she had mistaken chat roulette for a dating site.
Yeah, the next guy is just one of the brothers from Vultures of Horror who says, "God told me to eat chicken and your mate will eat you." And then he eats some chicken.
Yeah, then there's a white guy. Nothing funny about that. Just a strong, handsome, intelligent white guy.
But then the final guy of the montage is apparently a guy who just showed up shirtless.
Yeah, and kisses his biceps. And I mean, you can tell what they're going for here, but they're just not fucking getting there. And so they come out of this montage and it's just like, and she's just like, chuckle. Okay, that was a pretty funny montage, but seriously, though, my vag is starting to atrophy.
Right, and she's like, aren't there any guys who don't want to talk about anything but sex? And everyone at the table is like, no. All men want is to stick their dick in something and become one with the Triforce. That is it.
And she also, this is like where they sort of set up the whole 40-year-old virgin thing when she says, "Hey, Mom, I'm 40 years old and a virgin. Am I strange?"
And Mom's like, yeah, you're single, virgin, 40, and you live with me and your dad. Yeah, you're weird as fuck. Get out.
Right?
Stop.
Yeah.
Don't you have a job? What are you saving for?
Yeah, but Mom's actual advice is to push, pray until something happens.
Exactly. And then she realizes that she's going to be late for work. And we're going to talk about how late in a second, but she's sitting there very casually eating breakfast with her family, and then she looks at her watch and goes, I'm going to be late. It will turn out she is 2 hours late.
2 hours late. Yeah. You just look at your watch and you're like, oh, fuck, that's not a 9. What? Yeah. Who the fuck? Yeah. So let's get into it. So she shows up at the office and her boss is bitching her out on account of her lateness. Now, up until this moment, we're assuming it was like, oh, fuck, I woke up too late, then I got talking to Mom. I'm 10 minutes late.
Right. That's the movie trope is, Johnson, you're 10 minutes late. I don't ever want to see that again. This boss is entirely reasonably upset that she showed up to work 2 hours late. If I showed up 2 hours late for our recording, Heath and Noah would have just done an episode without me.
Well, that's fucking... And she's like, but I'm getting better, ain't I? She's like, yeah, you were only 2 hours late today. I'm like, fuck, why is she not fired?
Yeah, you would wonder, because the boss seems to have no problem treating her like shit. She's like, fuck you, Miss Matthews. You're a piece of... She calls her a sorry piece of crap.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She's like, you're a sorry piece of crap. Don't let me catch you being 84 hours late again.
Well,
so it's this weird, like
to her credit, she is a sorry piece of crap, because it's not even just that. Then she's like, she starts going off about like, hey, have you closed that account yet? It's 6 months overdue. So yeah, no. And also, okay, here's her excuse. She says, you know, like, why were you so late? She says, well, I got carried away talking to my mom. Jason Chaffetz has better excuses than that. What the fuck are you talking about? But then the boss leaves, and this is when Funny Guy shows up, and we know he's Funny Guy because he makes faces.
Yes, and these are the two best friends, which is the one is the coworker version of her who's supposed to be slutty, and she looks like an evolved Pokemon version of Pamela, and then there's the gay best friend who's dressed like a pimp from a 1950s action movie.
Yeah, and they never make it clear whether or not he's gay or bisexual, or if they just think it's really funny when women call effeminate men gay, or just men gay. I never figured out where they were. It's okay to be racist about this movie because they were so homophobic in it. See? It cancels out.
There you go. See, we're like superheroes when you think about it.
That's mad.
Superheroes of racism. That's us. Yeah, so welcome to our last episode. So she got him, the last one with ads on it anyway.
Guys, we were only going to ever do 100 episodes. We're only stopping 11 episodes short. That's true.
We can find more ads. We'll just have some really interesting ads coming up soon. You'll see.
Same ones that O'Reilly got in the last
right. Yeah, I hope you guys want some catheters and some gospel Elvis albums.
I'm Tony D, and I have trouble peeing. I sure do, Tony. Do you need a tube stuck in your penis to pee? You should probably be dead. Tony D's catheters. Gross. There's a free one. See, I gave him a free one.
Have a free dick tube, yeah. All right, so she got so she's talking to the guy friend. We haven't met the girlfriend yet. We'll meet her in the next scene. But she got a message apparently on ChristianLosers.com. But should she call him or not? Those are the fucking stakes of this movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, this is where we learned that it has taken her 6 months to close an escrow account, which, again, an escrow account is like, all right, so just sign there. All right, you're good.
Yep. That's it. Yeah, and she sucks at her job to the point of mental retardation and shows up whenever the fuck she feels like. Like, here's the thing. Am I supposed to have sympathy for this lazy piece of shit character? Am I supposed to give a fuck?
Yeah, and again, it's like all the normal movie tropes of, I haven't gotten a client in 3 weeks, and, I'm 10 minutes late for work. But as a prank, someone replaced it with absurd things like, I haven't gotten a client in 84 years, and I'm 85 years late to work. It's just fucking crazy.
Right. Like, if you think about it, the boss is being crazy lenient. She's just being a bitch about it.
Right. Well, she gives her 3 more days to close the account. Or she's fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something that will never come back ever again.
Never, ever.
And they have no idea the words they're using. They say escrow like they just had like a word a day calendar with escrow. And like, yeah, I fucking heard you say escrow 7 times. Like I heard you mangle perspicacity yesterday a bunch of times too. Just it's fine. It's enough of the calendar. And
also, like, speaking of which, the opening of the next fucking scene is just 2 people saying escrow back and forth for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So that is the tendency to be sweaty, you say. Yep. Perspicacity.
Close.
Of or lacking perspective.
A little bit closer. Not exactly. No.
Ask me to spell it.
It's not right. It's still not right at all, actually.
No, I wasn't even close.
Toast.
So this is where we meet her girlfriend. So she's got the guy friend and the girlfriend at work. And they too are talking about how weird it is that somebody on Grindr actually wanted to fuck her or whatever.
Yeah. And the friend does a new version of that. All the good ones are married or gay. Again, this movie has a bunch of normal words with one weird twist in it. She goes, all the good ones are married, gay, or dead.
Are the good, like, how good looking are dead people to you, hun?
Weird number 3 for that list. Yeah.
Just her at a funeral home. Motherfucker. Another one bites the dust.
Well, and also she goes off on this whole, like, how bad guys are thing. And I honestly couldn't figure out anything she was saying. What does it mean when he wants to stroke your twins? Is that a boob play reference? I think
that's a boob play reference. Or molest your twin children.
Oh,
okay, no.
Okay. All right, that makes a lot more sense.
The boob thing
See, Noah kept deleting it from my notes, but I put it in a special side. And listen to her again. Everything here is like the tropes of a conversation, but with crazy replacements. Right. She says, "Some men will leave you with the tab." All right, got it. Abandon you in the middle of the road.
What? Stranded? Like marooned? They're going to shipwreck this woman?
I'm sorry, baby. You know where my treasure is. I'm picturing a pirate ship on hydraulics. I want you to know.
This is not a Hispanic movie, Eli. So now we head home where she's doing an intense study of the words seek and ye shall find.
Just over and over again. Like, not Bible study style, but notebooks from the movie Seven style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guess this is her trying to decide whether she should call that hot guy or not.
On her Zack Snyder phone?
Zach Morris?
Zach Morris, yes.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder is...
the guy who directs all the terrible...
Yes.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder. Fun fact, Zack Snyder also
has a really big phone. You don't know. Yeah. Maybe he has a really old phone. He's terrible at his job. You don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I would rather Zach Morris was directing those movies. Yes, he's quite perspicacious, yes. And now we're at breakfast again with the family. And I just want to, first of all, they're having fried chicken for breakfast in this scene. I didn't make that happen. That just happened.
All of us have some version of not going to take that bait movie.
I had that. Looks delicious. I like it.
It's a
Who
great
doesn't like
breakfast.
fried chicken any time of day?
And Grandpa is eating his chicken. They've sped up the tape as comedy, so Grandpa's just like eating in fast motion, which, hey, watching a racist stereotype eat in fast motion wasn't even funny in Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, it's so good. He's speed eating. It's like a cartoon character eating corn on the cob, like the old-fashioned typewriter. It's like dinging as he goes to each edge of it. It's awesome.
Well, everything he does is at Charlie Chaplin speed through the entire movie.
I want Disney not to acknowledge this movie. Like, you can find it on YouTube, but just Disney pretends it doesn't exist.
And also, okay, so this is where he decides he wants to fight the dad now. So he stands up and he's doing what he apparently assumes is some really funny, I'm going to kick your butt, I'm an old man kind of shit.
But it lasts so long. Like, it's not funny when he first does it, but it lasts so long that it then becomes funny. Because he's like, oh, but it's like 84 minutes. So by the end of it, you're just like, wait, maybe this is the best comedy.
I was not like that. Well, and the punchline to all of this is that eventually Dad stands up and is much larger than Grandpa.
At which point, Mom interrupts. And again, it's been 45 minutes of Grandpa being like, fight me, fight me, fight me. And Mom interrupts and says, you two need to stop fighting. And I wanted the dad to be like, I literally just stood up. This is very upsetting. You always take his side.
So, okay, so, and then meanwhile, we head back to work where she is still waiting on that dude to call her. Because at first it was, should I call him? And now she's waiting for him to, they're not paying a whole lot of attention to this movie. So we basically spend a whole scene establishing that the next scene will take place at lunch.
Yep. And hey, they ate fried chicken for breakfast, so just at home, little fun version of the home game. What do you think they're going to eat for lunch?
Well,
if you answered fried chicken
yes,
again,
they do. At Roscoe's Chicken and
with
Waffles. Yeah.
With I love the food in this movie. Made me really hungry.
Yeah. So, and okay, so she goes to lunch with her two friends from work, and the banter before the scene gets going is those two friends accusing one another of homosexuality.
Yep.
And deciding which level of blackness fucks better.
I'm telling you, this is this movie's version of You Want to Know How I Know You're Gay.
Oh my God, it is.
Yes. They were trying to do 40-year-old virgin.
And they just didn't get any of the jokes.
Yes.
Oh my God, it just fit in like when you finally realize how the optical illusion works or whatever. It just shifted and it all makes sense now. Thank you.
Also, just let's get into it. I mean, they bring up the question in the movie, do you guys prefer light skin or dark skin on a penis?
Well, I actually agree with the young lady who says the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So, I think she makes a pretty solid
do you prefer
point.
Sweeter juice or less sweet juice?
I mean, does anyone prefer less sweet
Sometimes.
juice? That seems
like dry.
Rather perspicacious for me. A famous boxer who changed his name to Muhammad Ali.
So I am not going to answer that question.
Perspicacious Clay. Well done.
Yeah.
Kind of how you say that.
That's even how that word's pronounced, ain't it? So, yeah.
Sweaty and good at boxing.
Today's word of the day. So they're talking about sex. Also, the Pamela says to her slutty friend, and that's the movie's description of the character. I'm not making a value judgment, but she says, I'm not worried about who fucks better. I want to see what's on the inside. To which her friend says, oh, I see what's on the inside, baby. Wink, wink. I'm like, what's the wink, wink?
It's a prostate massage.
But visual? Fucking, do you have to?
That's a colonoscopy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
There you go.
What the hell does that mean?
That's a prostate
Flash
massage.
cut to her dressed for a funeral at the back of the colonoscopy. God damn it, another one. That is a good-looking large intestine. My friend looks like Barry Bonds in a wig.
So now they're talking about sexy stuff. So she preaches the Bible at them. And just then, the fairy sprinkle music actually happens. And that hot guy from ChristianLosers.com just happens to walk into that Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Right. And everyone reacts like this guy is very attractive, but he is not. No. This must be the direct. This gentleman, like, if he stopped me on the street, I'd be like, hey, man, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. And he'd be like, I just want to know where the A train is. And I'd be like, I am so sorry. And he'd be like, why did you assume I was homeless? And I'd be like, why did you assume I was homeless? I'm homeless. And then run away. Because I'm perspicacious like that.
Well, if you're so good at boxing, I don't see why you wouldn't have just fought him. But yeah, exactly. And so, they have to let me know that this is supposed to be the attractive guy. That's another trope in Christian movies. Also, when he comes in, does he just hand her a towel?
He gives her a dirty napkin off the floor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So again, movie trope, she drops something and the handsome guy picks it up, except it's a grease-covered, chicken-smeared napkin. And he's like, is this your incredibly dirty and disgusting napkin? And she's like, why, yes, it is. And he's like, are you fine? A little.
He dips it in a bus tub, just wipes her face a little bit. You got a little smudge.
Oh,
I got it.
Oh. Right. That makes more sense, but not sense. And apparently Slutty Friend knows him, and he's rich too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the friend introduces the two of them, and also, like, I think that the dude friend, the gay friend, also would like to fuck this character. This character's name is Jordan, by the way.
Yeah.
He will be honestly, I feel like I'm spoiling it by telling you he will be the male protagonist at this point, because you would assume, as we get to know him better, that he's going to be the villain and she's going to wind up with the gay friend or something like that, or find out she's a lesbian and end up with the other. But, like, everything in this movie indicates that this will be the bad guy, but no, he is the male protagonist.
No, or take her wig off and show Neo where the Matrix is. There are a lot of options for how this movie could go, and it doesn't go that way.
Doesn't really take advantage of any
porn. And he was very upset about it.
I was not. Also, like, so when
he lacked perspective.
So, and also at the end, when they're making the date together, he does this creepy face touching thing.
Oh, it's so much like she's a pug and he's like a crazy white girl on the street just squeezing the face. It's so much. It's over the top. You're a stranger.
Crazy Millionaire remake, except all the actors treat each other the way white women treat pugs. Just like, boo!
Murder you!
Yeah, boo! What animals is Lawrence Fishburne in a wig? What animals?
Apparently, this is such an inside joke. I'm not even inside on it. So if you're sitting here not knowing what the fuck is going on, you and me, we're together on this. Anyway, so they make a date, and everyone responds like a fucking 13-year-old. Ooh. And then we cut to Jordan's quote-unquote mansion, a.k.a. rented beach house in Oxnard.
Yeah, just real quick, though, before we cut, and they do this a lot in this movie, every time the script runs out of stuff, they just, like, start whispering.
Yes!
But don't cut. They just keep, just cut. You can cut whenever you want. But they keep, 5 or 10 seconds of them being like, I think we're out of words, so just mumble, 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 mumble. Are we done?
All right. It's a date.
The camera keeps looking at me. Are we still
going?
All right. Good.
Yeah. So, apparently Jordan's home comes with a bitchy alcoholic lady. And I wrote that in my notes because I was like, this cannot possibly be his wife and the mother of his child, can it? This is supposed to be the male protagonist.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, this is his wife and the mother of his child.
Yeah.
Right. And she's got like a thermos. The alcohol in this movie makes no sense. She's got like a thermos full of Cosmo.
Which again sounds delightful. I like all the food and drinks in this movie. She's got a glass of bourbon. It looks good. But apparently this movie thinks like they made her up that in a way that like having a glass of bourbon equals crack binge. You've been on like a 4-week crack binge because you're drinking a glass of bourbon.
Well, also,
I don't really want to bring this on the air, but most people don't have a glass of bourbon at 2 PM, Heath.
You don't know when you would want to just, kick back. It's your day's over,
Well, also,
maybe she's stuck in a loft.
Well, also the other way that you know that she's on a crack binge is the fact that she constantly lights cigarettes that she's later not smoking. You can always tell who the bad person is, apparently. And then a child appears in Jordan's arms in a temporarily vexing fashion.
She basically teleports there, just like, thanks, Scotty.
Accelerating 9.8 meters per second squared. Yeah. She's terminal velocity by the time she gets in.
Yeah, no, because all of a sudden you're like, Daddy, Daddy. And he looks off to the right and immediately picks up a chick, a little girl. Oh, well, not little, a child who is very large. And I'm just like, how could she possibly have, unless there was a trap door below him that she rose, yeah.
And look, this kid is not small, but her first lines are, Mommy didn't feed me. She says, Daddy, I'm hungry. And he goes, didn't Mom feed you today? And his response is, go into your room, lock the door, and play your music really loud, which is absolutely 100%. I'm about to beat your mother, and I don't want you to see it language.
Well, it's even worse than that. She turns to the kid and says, do you know what to do? She says, go in my room and turn up the music real loud and close the... Yes, the little girl knows I'm going to beat mommy face when she sees it.
I'll just go wait in the truck. It's fine. I get it. It's the same thing.
Yes. And this is the part where, like, because the wife's like, what are you getting all dressed up for? And he's like, you're an alcoholic guy. It's okay that I go and fuck other women or whatever. He doesn't tell her where he's going or whatever. But then he grabs her by the throat and threatens to physically abuse her.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, she's mixed up with a really bad dude, and this is going to be the bad boyfriend that the good boyfriend is then going to... That will never happen. They will never even have a moment where they acknowledge that this was not appropriate behavior for this gentleman.
Nope. This is just the movie's version of like, man, that wife's a real bitch. Huh?
Yes!
Did you see how she was talking to him before he had to choke her into silence?
Oh my God! Yeah, and it gets less comfortable. The relationship between these two gets less comfortable before this movie's over. Anyway, Meanwhile,
he doesn't become less physically violent, is what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Throughout the movie.
Exactly.
We'll get there.
He branches out a little. All right. So meanwhile, Pamela is getting ready for the date, and she's so nervous because she's wearing a shirt that's trying to consolidate her boobs.
Oh, ugh. She looks good.
She looks like someone computer animated a lime with tits.
What I thought she was I thought she looked great. I thought she looked.
You like the uniboob look.
I want to fuck Barry Bonds and Lawrence Fishburne. That's what I'm saying. And George Foreman.
Hey, speaking of what we want to fuck, I would like to fuck a child. I was really waiting for the interrupt on that one. I was really...
I thought you were going to make a joke about the sister who was hot.
Her too.
I haven't learned this yet.
Does she have
She
any
was
children?
supposed to be a child in the movie, though, right? They were pretending that she was 16. It's okay. Anyway, so Jordan shows up to charm the family, and this is where Grandpa threatens to beat him like he was an alcoholic wife.
Yeah.
And Jordan brought drugstore chocolates, which means he's classy as fuck, just so you know.
Apparently.
Oh, I thought it was like a VHS tape. I couldn't tell what it was. It looked like a box set of VHS tapes. It was really weird.
Well, he'd wrap them.
Oh, okay.
With the wrapping paper he also got at that gas station, apparently, yeah. And also the sister volunteers to fuck Jordan, too, if Pam doesn't want to. with her boyfriend
in front
sitting.
of her boyfriend.
Yes.
Her boyfriend's like, hey, and she's like, stop it. We're barely in the movie. Do you want to be an under 5?
So we go to dinner, and I want to point out that up until this point, with only one exception, this movie has been eating scene, non-eating scene, eating scene, non-eating scene. And it will continue that way for quite a while. So
for me, it was just all eating scenes. I was eating.
Oh, well, right. Yeah. No, it was the chicken. It made you hungry. Yeah, I get it. So they're at dinner listening to porn for women soundtracks.
Yes, but luckily not eating chicken. My first note was, thank God, an eating scene that isn't chicken.
Well, but it seems like an awkwardly silent date when we first cut in, like they didn't know we were rolling yet. They were waiting for a cue. So it just plays like, wow, are they miserable on this date?
Also, small detail, they have a champagne bottle that's been opened and then re-corked somehow.
Yeah,
I don't understand what's happening. And I looked even close. It's actually not champagne. It's Freixenet, which it's cava. It found at fancier Spanish gas stations. That's the date they're on.
This is the nicest place they could find that involved plastic tablecloths.
Yes.
and her first line is, this is a lovely place. Like they're on the streets of Paris instead of the illegal outdoors area behind a TGI Fridays.
Well, and then he's got to brag a little. He's like, you've probably noticed there's no one else in here. That's because I've rented this whole place out like a pretentious dick. And she's like, wow, wouldn't we, like for that price, we could have gone to a real, like one nice restaurant with just us.
Yeah, and Fridays carries Freixenet. They do.
And being alone in a restaurant is not more romantic. Like no one's like, oh, good, we're abandoned and alone. This is what the apocalypse would be like. It's not a better experience.
Well, and it's terrifying if it's your first date. I wanted to make sure there were no witnesses. Why did you want that? What? Yeah. So, and then they get into the conversation, which begins with him very awkwardly trying to dress up the question of, why would a woman like you have to resort to internet dating to get fucked? Feels like people would be trying to fuck you constantly.
Right. And her answer to that is not because I look like Black Mr. Peanut in a wig.
I like a monocle. Yeah.
Nor is her answer, well, it's just been statistically proven to be a much more effective way of finding someone to date that you don't then have to work with after you break up with and shit. Her eye is, well, I'm looking for a man who has his eye on Jesus and not my underwear.
Right.
Woof.
I mean, your underwear kind of terrifies me, hun. But then he goes like, oh, well, normally if a woman brought up Jesus like that, I'd tell her to go fuck herself and leave.
Well, he says, I'd run away, basically like I lit my face on fire freebasing cocaine.
What?
But I'd run away like Richard Pryor.
Yeah, like Richard Pryor with his head on fire.
I'm saying I'm not going to act like Richard Pryor with his face on fire tonight. I'm not doing that. That's his response to this.
Very specific reference, and I regret that he took it before I could. But that's my new code for exiting an uncomfortable situation, by the way. Like, when I'm having brunch with my wife's shitty friends, I'm just going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I got to go. I'm like Richard Pryor with his face on fire right now.
Also, I think this is the first time we found this particular audio fuck up in a film. The audio in this movie is so poorly spliced that during this date scene, she interrupts herself. Like as they go from one scene to one shot to the other, she's over talking her own goddamn line for a second. Unbelievable. And then they dance in an empty restaurant to music.
Right.
There's no moves either. I feel like black people would like do something even during a slow dance. Like, shouldn't they be doing like flips and stuff or whatever? I don't know.
That's your 9. So, and then
that's a compliment. I'm saying they're good dancers.
We're saying you're great dancers. That's what you were born to do in a way.
Oh, God.
Dance and entertain. I want to say shuck.
I want you to not say that. That's your 12. All right. So, and then he drops her off without fucking her. And we have to see this scene so Grandpa can show up and funny at us some more.
And he like pops out of the bushes like Charlie to be like, hey, I'm the comic relief. How's it going? And they're like, not good, man. Not good.
What if I
scene's over?
Scream way out of the microphone's range some more? Like, yeah, do that some more, Grandpa. That'll be great. Yeah, they set up to have lunch together tomorrow. And because that was a non-eating scene, now we have to have them at breakfast the next day with her all like 14-year-old girl coming back from a date about everything.
Right. And everyone this is a 40-year-old woman who lives at home, and everybody's like, so how did the date go?
Yeah, not like, oh, God, can you, like, is it embarrassing to you that your dates have to come here to pick you up? Because it embarrasses us. Yeah, and Grandpa, of course, wants to know about his dick. He wants to be a great grandpa before he's 50.
Instantly. He's like, you didn't play hard to get, did you? Because, you know, what God don't see, don't hurt him.
So she leaves to go to work all happy. And then they leave the three, like Heath was talking about, where they run out of words, but they just keep the fucking camera going anyway. Except for at this point, everyone forgets that in real conversations, people talk one at a time, or more or less.
Yeah, but instead they all just do their best version of a stereotype or whatever they think their character is. So Grandpa's like, hooba dooba dooba, hooba dooba dooba. And the mom's like, boy, you better know, you better not know. And the sister's like, oh, no, man. But at the same time, it's horrifying.
More horrifying than that description.
Well, that's my one. I didn't say my thought out loud just now, but I'm taking another one.
So now she's at work trying to nail that escrow account down, and her boss is standing over her as she makes this phone call that's basically, have you signed those papers? Okay, please sign those papers. Her boss goes, glad to see you working on your working here at the working place.
Yeah, for real. She goes, glad to see you're working on your career. At her job? That's fucking, as opposed to what?
Right.
They have really lowered the standards for this chick, yeah.
Boss lady comes so close to saying the N-word to Pamela. Like she was really close. I felt like she was going to say it a few times.
And then
I was offended on Pamela's behalf. Is why I'm saying that.
Of course. And then Jordan shows up for lunch, and he brought flowers.
Gross purple poor people flowers.
I mean, he certainly didn't get bloomthat.com level flowers here.
I'm just saying, there are two categories of flowers. There are roses, and there's everything else. It's like, flowers? Sure.
That is like, I have dated 4 women advice right there, sir. There are plenty of women out there that just don't care for roses.
Those people are wrong. Other flowers are the zales of flowers. Don't listen to them.
Don't just go with fucking roses, guys. Just like, just pretty, like a fucking, like you go to Bloom That and they have a fucking guy there who does that for a living. And he's like, hey, that flower looks good. Whatever. Don't go in there and act like a dick and do it yourself. I'm sorry, this isn't part of the ad. That just pisses me off. Everybody's like, no, I'll just get 10 or 12 roses and shit. She knows how much that costs. Fuck off.
Yeah, roses.
Anyway.
Get roses. Don't get weird flowers. Oh, what are these?
Yeah, get
I don't
roses
know.
in baby's breath. She's never gotten that before. Anyway.
That is the purpose of flowers. It's going to die in a day anyway. She's going to forget to put it in. I don't want to do.
You
not
give
doing
her
this
a
on air.
vase. It comes with a free vase.
What
and
are you
caramel
guys
treats.
talking about? What is happening? Who fucking cares? Who buys flowers for people?
Here's the single guy chiming in.
Here's a plant that's going to die really soon. Put it somewhere. God.
They smell pretty.
I'm sorry, not all of our girlfriends like Claire's gift card.
All right, so he shows up to take her to dinner with his, and I think we can, no matter what our disagreement on flowers, I think we can agree these are shitty flowers. He went with shitty flowers. So, and now it's time for an eating scene again. So they go to lunch, where she explains, in terms of her education, that she mastered in physiology.
Mastered?
Mastered.
Like, did she mean major, do you think?
I feel like she meant major.
But still, that would be biology, wouldn't that? If you were majoring.
I think she defeated a physiologist who was the best at the time, and now she's the master.
I see.
I did enjoy the part right here at the beginning, though, where she goes to, like, grab food off his plate, and he's like, seriously, get the fuck off my plate.
Yeah.
Order the amount of food you want to eat. That's how fucking restaurants work. Like, this was an important message for everybody. Just order the amount of food you want.
Well, their weird banter back and forth as she tries to take his food and he's like, that's my food. To which she playfully throws meat in his eyes. I wanted him to like pull out a katana. It just escalated. Like, oh, fuck. Was that steak juice? Gotcha.
And this reaction
him and steals one of his fries.
By the way, we have the exact opposite of that reaction. So just keep this in mind that when he won't give her food, she throws meat in his face. We're going to have a very opposite reaction to a much worse crime later. Anyway. And also, she asks him what he does for a living, and he says,
this is so stupid.
This is amazing. He says, I work in imports and exports of services overseas.
Wait, so he imports and exports services?
Right. He's a slaver.
He's a slaver.
See, we all predicted drug dealer, and spoiler, we're right.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, I felt a little racist when I said, wealthy black man that works in imports and exports. And I'm like, no, that's probably what he really does for a living. But no, he's a coke dealer.
And to be fair, that is now 2 movies in a row in which a black guy's been like, I work in pharmaceuticals. And we've said, man, I feel racist for thinking he's a drug dealer. And he's turned out to be a drug dealer.
Well,
two for two.
But the last one was made by racist white guys. This was made by racist black guys. So I thought maybe, but no, he's a coke dealer.
No.
So, and then he proposes that she take him around and show him houses all day so that they can hang out, and she would still technically be working. So she illegally, or at least unethically, bills her company for a bunch of work she's not doing also.
And he just yells check into the middle.
What's happening? That's usually what happens right before a really good tip, in my experience. He just seems like a really good tipper by the way he yelled check to nobody.
Okay, that's your
so now we get a montage of him showing or her showing him houses all day, and it's basically just a we're walking here kind of a montage. That's it.
Ugh. And then we cut from their walking around looking at houses montage to 2, again, 40-plus-year-old people doing like a midnight chat on the phone, no you hang up conversation.
Yes, but there was one amazing moment in this. That was clearly an editor fucking with them and deleting a line. Because, for a minute, we're getting the back and forth, and then you can only hear one side of the conversation and then only the other. But at one point, she says, completely outside of any context, when you don't know what he just said, yeah, you can put it anywhere you want to. That's the actual line, just with no context whatsoever.
Yep. And he says, all right, in a bit. Bye. That's his response. I'm going to put it anywhere I want in a few minutes. Maybe just stretch. I'll be over in a second.
Yeah, no, and we never found, but yeah, maybe I feel like that movie, that was a nod to us, Like Brian knew we were going to watch this, and he's like, I'm going to give him one.
So she's either ready for butt sex, or that's a thing you say about phone kissing, because she did the into the phone thing.
Oh, all right. And he said, can I put that on my balls? And she said,
rim job is what I would assume.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
I mean, it's butt stuff either way is my point.
The key is there is butt stuff reference in this phone conversation.
It's butt stuff all the way down.
Other than this weird butt sex thing, though, the entire call is, I'm so glad your day went well.
Yep.
Phone calls are so important and substantial. I don't know how in the world people interact without constantly having really important phone calls like this.
Yeah, some of us have a phone made in America that a Japanese guy doesn't pick up and connect you.
None of us have a phone made in America.
No, I'm sorry. That's
0
bullshit.
people that are on this call have a phone made in America.
Your phone's made in America. Give me a fucking break. So now we have them walking on a beach together. Where he is comparing. First of all, I should point out, this is a shithole of a beach. I guarantee you there are used heroin needles on that beach. You can't walk on it barefooted by fucking civil order or whatever.
It's so gross looking. It really is. And he's looking at it again like it's the cliffs of Moher. He's like, this is where I come to think and retreat. There's just a heroin addict washing up onto the beach. Just like a couple of dead bodies and a 6-pound bag of coke that like some Cuban guy is just hauling into the back of a truck.
Yeah, he says, this beach is like my dreams and my hopes. Not in any particular way.
And then he pauses for a good, 10 seconds to think about, should I fuck that? Like, hopes and dreams is like a normal human being way to say that. And you watch him think about that, whether he's going to cut on himself and be like, let's do it again because it's backwards.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It still makes sense. Yeah, and then we get this super gross sunset kiss where they, clearly couldn't tell the scene was over because they're like, should we do it again, you think? Or was that enough of my face on your face?
Guys, I like the kiss. I think black people kiss better. Also, compliment.
No,
Genuine.
that is way too. I have been married for almost a year. That is way too intimate. I did not like being that close and hearing that many mouth sounds. I was upset.
Yeah.
Nope.
And okay, so now he's dropping her off at home again, and this is where she notices his crucifix. I mean, there is one scene that was clearly more offensive to me than this scene, and I think you guys probably already know which one it was. No, it had nothing to do with fried chicken, but this scene was really competing for the most offensive, because this is where she's like, oh, I see you have a crucifix. Here's what that tells me about you as a human being.
Yeah, like she's reading his palm.
Yeah.
Oh, I noticed you have a cross.
Well, and it's exactly like that, too. Because it's like, you're well hung and have integrity and style, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just want to point out Biggie had a cross. Pretty sure Flavor Flav has a giant cross. I don't know how we're...
Those are men of integrity and style, Eli. What are you trying to say?
That's true.
And then also, okay, so she says, she asks him how he feels about marriage. And at first he's going for that, that's great for those other people who are married. But then he just kind of turns it around and is like, oh, you know what? I can throw in an anti-gay marriage dig here, and then I'm out. I'm clean. We were talking about being Christian anyway.
Yeah, she's like, so have you ever considered marriage? And he's like, between a man and a woman and only a man and a woman? Absolutely, right? Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Which, by the way, if you have trouble with commitment, please, that's the new way to get out of commitment, is just to turn all conversations about marriage into an anti-gay marriage scream. Not natural. They can't have kids. Yeah, but us, yeah, we could. Absolutely. Not the Smendersons down the street. Which one of them's the boy? Am I right? Who's with me?
That would end the relationship. They would not be talking about marrying you anymore. This doesn't work very well for gay people, Eli. You need a new strategy for gay guys that don't want to get married.
Don't get married.
So also, okay, so she's like, so, you want to get married. I'm free Tuesday and pretty much any evening after Friday. And he's like, yeah, I have to tell you something really, really important eventually. Not in this scene, but eventually I will tell you something really important that will explain why I don't want to marry you. Bye.
He goes, I have something very important to tell you, but only when the time is right. And I wanted him to just you got to find the copper key and the first gate.
When the shadow of the tower falls over the mountain. Yeah, what the fuck? Anyway.
I'll tell you I'm married with a child.
And now, okay, so then she goes inside. She's singing Jesus songs to herself. Not particularly well, and we know she can sing, so what the fuck? And then we cut to everybody watching a Lakers game. That is 2 non-eating scenes in a row. Boom.
Nice.
Broke the trend. And, of course, in this scene, it's the whole family sitting around watching the Lakers. Grandpa is funnying some more.
Yeah, he's mad that the Lakers aren't helping out Kobe. And fuck you, Kobe's a giant ball hog. How are they going to help him out?
Yeah, he wouldn't let them help. Anyway, yeah, no. But
he lacks perspicacity.
That's the problem. So, and the sister, the 31-year-old teenage sister, is expressing disbelief in the fact that Jordan hasn't tried to fuck Pam yet. They've been dating for a month.
Right, and right in front of her parents, she's like, I mean, look, I get it. Sometimes I am just soaking wet in front of you. Get it, Mom? Just soaking wet. And the dad's like, hey now.
Well, but at first
Gross.
he's not, though. At first he's like, yeah, no, if I had taken a month to fuck your mom, she would have just ripped my clothes off. And that's what he really says. He doesn't say fuck, but that's basically what he says. Yeah, if I had tried that gentleman stuff with your mom, she would have just ripped my clothes off. And Pamela's like, oh, yeah, no, I've thought about it. I've thought about it, Dad.
And the dad's like, no, but we're Christians, so
Yeah, right.
no raping. right. Obviously. We'll get there.
Yeah. So Jordan shows up to pick him up, and then that scene's over. And now, hard cut, they're laying on a picnic blanket together in his front yard.
And why can't anyone in any movie play a fucking card game? Because they're just showing each other cards. She's like, I have a diamond, I have a club, laughter.
He's doing a card trick, and she's like playing Texas Hold'em. He's like, "Oh, was it this card?" And she's like, "That doesn't win." They're just not. They're not even doing the same type of card thing.
And then we cut to it's like a montage of them hanging out, and Now, I want to be clear that I didn't hallucinate this. He squeezes a peach into her mouth.
I thought it was an orange, but yes, they're squeezing some type of fruit into one another's.
That's a new world of flirtation for me.
Right?
Just like, hey, will you juice a fruit into my mouth? And by the way, it goes exactly the way you're meant. She's just like, oh, God. Oh,
right.
My eyes. Oh, citrus. This was a terrible idea.
This is like in a normal movie, it would be a strawberry or a cherry or something that he would be feeding her or something.
They're just begging grapefruits at each other in the face. Ow! Jesus.
Feeding her, not juicing over her. That doesn't work on a glass. It's like, pulp and seeds everywhere. Yes, this was a terrible choice, but I'm already squeezing. Just get all the juice you can and we'll hose you down in a second.
And of course, this orange squeezing scene is going to lead to the attempted rape scene.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. My next two lines in my notes are, you know what this movie is missing? The beginning of a rape scene. Never mind.
All right, so he is very clearly just going for the pussy right there on the front lawn. And she's like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. And he's like, my ass, you can't do this. And then just starts grabbing her and shit. And it's just like, oh, wow, this is illegal.
Yeah.
This is presidential.
And they have a lot of trouble editing this scene. There's some really weird cuts because Pamela clearly launched this guy like 20 feet at one point.
Yes!
And they had to cut and just like snap cut to a different part where he's like, fuck, all right. He's breathing hard. He's got a giant bruise.
Yeah, she pushes him back and he flies into a neighboring car like fucking Chronicle. And it's supposed to be her being like, no, you big, strong man. And he's like, yeah, can I get a scene partner who isn't 1980s Kevin Sorbo?
If they had replaced her with Kevin Sorbo in a wig, this movie would have been amazing. Except for he would just have to use the same, dialect.
Yes.
Would it have been more or less racist at that point? I don't know.
Less.
I honestly don't know.
I feel like more. But it would have been less anti-LGBT. So, it would have been.
No, you're right. No, it's just one of those
exactly.
balancing act thing.
So, and this is where he discovers that she's a virgin. And in some of this movie's classic humor, he says, you've never even had Clinton sex?
I wanted to be like, I fucked a kid at Chuck E. Cheese once. Does that count?
the other Clinton.
No, okay.
Other Clinton.
Got it.
He just lost his kids.
So
wait, what?
Alex Jones lost his kids. I'm happy about it.
As long as he's miserable, we're all happy. But now he doesn't want to fuck around with her virgin ass anymore. So she grumpily throws a pillow at him.
I don't understand. She doesn't want him to leave? Is the tone I'm getting? Like, if a potential rapist starts to leave, you should not argue in any way.
No, you just, yeah. But again, like, contrast this with the, oh, you can't have my food, throw steak juice in his eyes versus, oh, you tried to rape me. Come on now, throw a pillow.
Playfully.
Yes. What the?
Should have saved some of that steak juice.
Yeah, right. Also, man, you know you're out of fucking shape when you've got to bring a pillow with you out to the picnic thing in the front yard. It's not like, come on, get in shape, girl. Damn. All right. So, and then he drops her off at home. Just to hell with that cobweb badge.
The literal Zelda music, by the way. I know it wasn't on purpose, but it was literally just like. And
by the way, he drops her off. That means they drove home together. Like, I really wanted to see that drive. Like,
oh my God.
Let's see what's on the radio. Heard a new song the other day called "You're a Rapist." Maybe that'll be on.
All right, fine. I'm going on a picnic and I'm going to bring a person who I can rape. All right, fine.
I'm going to bring a person I'm going to rape and a black person I'm going to rape.
So he drops her off and she's all crying and sad as she storms in because there's no goodbye at all. He just like pushes her out of the moving vehicle essentially. And Dad sees her all sad. And so he goes up to help her, and Dad's advice here, she's like, "Oh, I told him I was a virgin. He doesn't want to be with me anymore." Dad's advice is never. This is a quote: "Never let anyone convince you you're doing something wrong."
Yeah, what? That's his actual quote.
Jesus, that is the worst advice I've ever heard in anything.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
and, like. Even in the context, there's got to be a better way to put that. He's like, and it's not like, hey, look, in this situation, it's, look, we've always told you, outside perspectives on morality are useless.
I guess.
By the way, she also uses the word despondent while crying. Who?
Yeah,
says
he became
big words
so
like
despondent.
That? He seemed crestfallen. Like, what? Just use small words while you're crying. Weird.
I guess I just last perspicacity. You could say I'm Casper Percity.
But
to be or possess the best mattress in the industry.
Throwing out a lot of free ads this week. And okay, so Dad knows how to cheer her up, don't he? It's by starting a duet with a weeping fat woman. Fuck you, Eli. You had seen this part. You could have warned me before I went in. You'd already seen up to here before I started watching.
And she does not join in for a while, and you can see the other actor be like, come on, say his thing.
You're supposed to.
So what do you do when you're sad and you're sick? Okay, your turn. Everybody. All right, 3, 2, 1. I wanted them to be out of sync, just like, oh, no, I'm in F. I'm in F. Are you in F? I'm in F.
You don't seem to be
tempo.
an F.
Okay.
3, 4.
Row.
What
4.
do
Wait.
7.
So now that he's sung her back to happiness, he's going to go eat because this was a non-eating scene. And then we head to Jordan at breakfast in his mansion, important papering.
Yep. Just shuffling through his drug dealer paperwork.
I guess.
It's miming it. Yeah. I don't know. Like, what's happening there? Like this, the owner of a multinational pharmaceutical company is doing like clerical work with a physical paper notebook.
Well, and that's what they've sold him as up to this point. We now know he was a cocaine dealer. So a cocaine dealer is doing paperwork?
Just like the CEO of Pfizer, just with a legal pad doing a tally of erections one by one. What's happening here?
Just, all right, Carlos, look, I'm looking at your 1099 and I need a W-9 from you. I need a whole lot of more of this paperwork. I think we're going to go with paychecks. But
and so as he's paperworking, his wife, who's a little less drunk because it's morning, shows up and has this like, can it be like it was before conversation with him? Yeah. Which, if he's the villain, his reaction makes perfect goddamn sense.
He is so casual about his wife's breakdown about their lost love. She's like, why, I love you and I want it to be like it was. And he was like, yeah, no, I get that. I get that that's something you'd want. Sorry, I'm just doing this math real quick. 4 plus 4, and I don't love you anymore. Okay.
And I'm pretty sure he says, we've come a long way since then, N-word to her. like not the N-word, like he says literally N-word. I'm pretty sure that was the line.
He says that.
That is our euphemism. It's offensive. I don't like this movie.
You might have said onward, maybe? I don't know.
Wait, that makes way more sense. He probably said onward.
So...
Wait, we've come a long way since then. Yep, it's onward.
So, no. And then the daughter gets launched into this scene from a catapult to break up this tedious fucking conversation.
Right. And she's like, Daddy, play with me. And he goes, you know what? And like as a diss, he goes, why don't you play with your shitty mom? She doesn't have anything to do. And she's like, fine, I'll go play with our child. You're the good parent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But she has to push his papers around like a bitch before he leaves.
There's one other amazing line in this. This is like super wise, actually. The husband, while he's talking to the wife, giving her the speech here, he says, keep 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, and you take a dump all over the present. That's awesome. That's an amazing saying.
It's a great visual, but I mean, does that guy just automatically shit if his legs are spread a certain width?
I mean, is that not... What do you guys do?
Yeah, I'm on Heath's side.
How do you guys use the physics of your body to take a shit when you want to?
Exactly. If my feet spread more than 2 feet apart, I am shit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And you get to pick up somebody in the next stall, take a nice stance. Yeah. A lot of good reasons for that.
Absolutely.
That's a great saying. I'm gonna use that in response to like everything from now on. I love that.
I appreciate the warning.
Be writing speeches for the Dalai Lama. Like that's like super. That's like super. Zen. I like it.
So meanwhile, back at work, Pam and her friends are all squeezed awkwardly into a single close-up.
And literally, they're all just like yelling their characteristics. He's like, "I'm gay. I'm a whore."
Might as well
End of scene.
Right.
Oh, so fun. And they're gathered in front of this laptop like grandparents trying to Skype.
Yes.
They're just like bumping their faces into the camera. And then like, no, move it. And then they're like 400 yards down a fairway, like not even close.
Yeah, exactly. And also the shot is so clearly framed on the slutty friend's cleavage.
Yep.
Violet.
It's tunnel vision. Yep. So, okay. Now we learned in this scene, it's been over a month since they broke up. Or since she admitted that she was a virgin and he dropped her off after trying to sexually assault her. And she's still obsessing over him. And the friends are still obsessing over her, obsessing over him. That's all we get out of this scene.
Sure is.
Well, that and some advice to take felony revenge on him for not liking her anymore. And then she goes to talk to her pastor about this.
And man, do we get a shift in background noise for this scene. It's like, all right, I'll go talk to my pastor.
Yeah, apparently she goes to church in a goddamn active wind tunnel.
I wanted it to pan over and there's just some guys doing that weird squirrel wind thing in a tunnel next to them. Just like, are we bothering you? No, it's fine. This was a weird way to raise money.
And the pastor seems to be making it very clear that if no one else would like that ass, he will take it.
Yeah, he says, when one door closes, another one opens. One with a sweet triangle mustache and an awesome button-down shirt. I'm just saying, whatever you want.
You never know. Push.
My dick. What? What?
But then again, his actual advice first is to push, to pray until something happens. Also, to continue to obsess over the man that has not contacted her in a month. That's the actual advice he gives. So on that bizarrely shitty nugget, I suppose we can take a quick break. But first, let me give Act 3 the hard sell. Will Pamela at least offer up some mouth stuff? Does it still count if he puts it in her ass? Will Heath say the N-word? Find out the answers to these questions and more when we return for the depressing as fuck conclusion of Don't Touch If You Ain't Prayed.
Miss Matthews.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Wendy.
Have you finished that account yet?
No, sorry, Mrs. Wendy.
Seriously? It's been 4 years.
I know, but the client's phone number has a 4 in it. So.
Just get it done, you piece of shit.
Oh, okay, sorry. Just quick question.
Yes, Miss Matthews? Shit fucker?
Okay, why do I still work here?
I ask myself that question every day.
No, but seriously, I'm grossly incompetent. I'm late all the time. I'm just terrible at my job. But shouldn't you have fired me?
I should, and you better pray I don't.
No, don't say something sassy. Literally, just answer the question, why haven't you fired me?
As the day is long.
Fire me.
If only you could wear a...
Okay, look, I'm writing myself a check right now for $800,000 from the company. Please fire me.
Miss Matthews, you don't ever want if up and down and all happy birthday.
Are you literally unable to fire someone?
In and out burger is delicious.
That's what I thought. I'm gonna head home.
So little control.
The fucking, oh God, it was so goddamn, yeah. That's the scene. And we're back for more of this shit. Now, when we last saw our hero, she was getting shitty advice from a pastor. I'm sorry, she was getting advice from a pastor. Sorry about the verbosity there. And now we're going to catch up with her showing up at home to her 30-year-old teenage sister again.
Gain some perspective, Noah.
Right? So, and her sister says, well, you know, some sexy voiced man called for you, and we have to go through like a 10-minute thing where she has to buy the phone message from her sister.
And again, this is so weird because this is a movie trope gone crazy as usual in this movie. Look, it's weird to feud with your younger sister when you're 40, and the whole like $5, you better give me the phone message thing is funny, but only if you don't pay her and then she then delivers the message.
Yeah, right.
Which, by the way, will come back because apparently that agreement will just run on for the rest of the film.
Yeah. Yeah, can't afford to fucking get her own place, but she can afford to buy her messages from her sister.
But does the sister even give a message? She's just like, here's this very obviously a public bathroom napkin prop that's clearly blank. So I'm just going to tell you the message verbally. Some guy named Danny called.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some sexy voiced man named Danny that called her. And right about the time we learned this, Grandpa comes in to be all funny at us again.
Oof.
Oh, God.
And he's doing the old man with no teeth mouth motion, but he has teeth.
Right, all of them.
He just keeps doing that weird chewy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the way they go about, like, apparently he needs a cane to sit down in his chair. I mean, like, everything they do to try to make him old just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
He's got, like, fucking little tennis balls on his fucking bicycle kickstand. Anyway. So he comes in and they have this whole weird conversation where, like, I guess the dad character was rushed to the hospital for chest pains and he has high blood pressure and high cholesterol. There's a whole scene about this. This will never come back up.
Nope, never at all. The only thing about this scene of note is the daughter's like, Daddy, when you die, can I have your stuff? And the actress who plays the mom very clearly really hits the other actress who plays the daughter.
Because she's
like, ow, fuck, you, dick. It's like the rest of the scene is just that actress out of character being like, fuck. Oh, you got my ear. Fuck you. Fuck. They're like, I've got a date to fuck.
Well, it's so clearly unintentional too, because she like turns around and just like throws her hands up in exasperation. But as she does, just smacks the shit out of that other actress. It was fucking hilarious. Best moment in the movie. So now Pam heads upstairs to call Danny back. And they have this very bizarre and creepy conversation where she's like, who are you and how did you get my number? He's like, I got it from the internet.
Yeah, he goes, I got it from your dating service. And she's like, I'm sorry, my phone number isn't on the dating service. And which dating service is that? And he's like, the one you're on. And she's like, I know Jordan apparently months ago put you up to this. You don't fool me. I don't date my ex-boyfriend's business partners.
I wanted the fucking cops to call and go like, the call is coming from inside your vagina.
And then it turns and Jordan has been sitting there. What the fuck? I don't even understand what that scene was supposed to be. Jordan was testing to see if she would date other men. It's abusive. It's terrifying, but it will never come back or matter.
Also, she called him. So has Jordan just been sitting in that house for weeks since he gave Danny her number, and then just like, well, I'm going to be there to nod condescendingly when you fail to close the deal with her. I just want you to know.
Just pan over, he's running a phone trace for no reason. She's home where I called her.
Keep her talking.
This whole spy thing feels meaningless. I don't know. You just want to end the scene? Should we keep acting?
Also, if he's sitting right there, I mean, he did meet her on the dating service. Why wouldn't he just cut the phone and go, which dating service was it? You know, I mean, anyway, yeah. So, yeah, apparently that was some friend of Jordan's who he's like, hey, can you fuck this girl for me? She keeps calling me. Anyway, so now she goes on a chat room. This is how desperate she is. She is now going to go on a blind date with some guy she met in a chat room.
Oh, it's so good. The chat room screen is amazing. Did you guys?
Oh, so 2004, yeah.
So, first of all, Larry Flash J is the name. I mean, it's clearly Flash Jenkins, the producer. That's the name of one of the people in the chat room. And he's talking to Rosebud, which is Girls 69 1 US. And also, Nude Man Like You shows up at one point, is on this chat room. So we see Pamela typing in, want to go out and eat tonight. But that pops up under Larry Flash J. So she's using a dude's name and asking out someone named Rosebud on this chat room. That's what's happening.
That's how it goes down. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, once that To Catch a Predator intro is over, we cut to the restaurant and we have, again, like they're trying to do that scene where she's like waiting for a blind date and one guy comes in, she's like, oh, I hope it's not him. And then another guy comes in and she's like, I hope it's not him. Except for they don't know that when you do that, you're supposed to have people, you know, like whom one would clearly think one or the other thing about.
Nope. Just dudes.
Just random for 12 minutes.
So many of them would have been inappropriate. Like, so funny. They wouldn't want that guy. She reacts.
And finally, damn it, if Jordan doesn't come in, he was cyber stalking her this whole time.
He is the protagonist of this movie.
I don't get that.
And he goes by Rosebud on chat rooms, apparently, which is weird. I mean, whatever you want, but...
Yeah, it's his thing, but that is a little weird.
Also, by the way, they're at an Ethiopian restaurant, and is this a standard thing? In an Ethiopian restaurant, does the waiter give you a menu and also like a basket of cobra snakes? Because that's what appears to be what happens.
Here's your menu. Here's your sombrero for you to eat out of.
Yeah, is that what okay. Do you eat out of a sombrero there?
I'm going to go ahead and say yes because you won't find out until Tuesday that I'm lying to you. Yeah, that's how Ethiopian people eat their food.
Yeah, why not?
Out of a basket. You're racist.
So
you don't know I'm wrong. You at home right now, you're like, oh, Eli, but you're like, wait, how do Ethiopian people eat their food? Normal. That's how they eat their food. Normal.
I don't know, though, because we've seen Vultures of Horror, and there's nothing normal about the way they eat their food, so...
They don't have they have ladles, but they didn't have any sombreros.
Yeah, right. No, it's a cultural thing.
It's across, yeah.
And one of Africa's better not the same than the other. It's just, yeah, exactly. So Jordan comes in and she's pissed, but she agrees to give him 5 minutes to explain him damn self, which they don't stick to. I don't know why they gave themselves a ticking clock. Did you really?
I did. It's like 3 minutes.
And so this is where he like basically lays it all out. Like, you know, he's like, I know that like I'm the one that refused to talk to you because you are a virgin, but while we're broke up anyway, I should tell you that my business is downright Trumpian in nature. Also, I'm married and I have a fat kid.
Right. And you love me.
Also,
again, he concludes this horrible confession where she's like super upset with, you fucking love me. And I'm like, whoa, movie. Whoa. And again, if this movie was all setting up to her meeting the right guy who isn't this character, I'd be like, I get it. Bad filmmaking, a little broad. But no, again, this is something that the protagonist does to our main character. And we're supposed to be like, he won her back. Hooray.
Yeah. Holy shit. And so she's like all pissed because he's making her feel sick. And this is an eating scene, damn it. And she says to him, and I quote, I'm really feeling some unchristian-like thoughts, and I'm not sure what I'm capable of. I'm like, well, it's not a crusade, at least.
Also, there's this great moment where he goes, I never wanted to hurt you. And she says, exact quote, how do you really feel knowing that you failed? And undoing that puzzle of a sentence was the next 17 minutes of my, how do you really feel knowing that you failed? So
He's out there diagramming.
Wanting to just...
I would love to watch you try to diagram that sentence. Also, I love, too, that he's very specific when he's like, I would do anything for you except cut my own beating heart out of my chest. Harry Carey is out, but if you don't want me to cut out my still beating heart with a knife, I will do anything to make you happy.
Look, I think we've all tried online dating, and we've all had that one bad date where you start building exceptions into your language, right? It's all going well, and then she wants you to cut your beating heart out of your chest.
I didn't say on my profile I wasn't into that. Yeah. And then, so she, he says, well, I'm going to get divorced from my wife at some point. And I'm like, oh, he's a good man then.
Yeah.
You and I are good. His response to that is, he goes, I'm going to divorce my wife. You and I are going to get married. That's just the way it is. I could have said that the day before my wedding to my wife, and as revolution, she wouldn't have married me.
Yeah, right.
She would have been like, now it's Thursday. Now we're doing it Thursday. My notes at this point, I just wrote, is this the guy that shot up the school?
Yeah, right. Also, this is kind of weird. So as they're going back and forth, at the very end, before she shoots up and walks out, on the shot that goes back to her, the table isn't there anymore.
Well, it's Ethiopian food.
Well, I mean, it was less of a continuity error and more of a glitch in the fucking Matrix. And somehow there's still 30 minutes in this fucking movie. And my dumb ass is, I'm thinking, and she hasn't even met her man yet. Wow. But
also, why hasn't anyone showed up to take a drink order at this point?
Right?
What the fuck? They've been doing this whole, I fucking hate this restaurant.
In Ethiopia, you get your drink order out of you have to reach into the sombrero full of cobras and pull out the drink that you want.
They don't have drinks in Ethiopia.
So now Pam goes to see her friend, all weepy.
Pam is all of my wife's friends. All I needed to happen in this scene was for me to wander out and explain I have a recording and that they need to cry more quietly. And this is moment for moment my life. Just oh, no, body painting was a career. I can't believe that I have a show to do. I'm real. She's going to be the good one about this. I just need it. You're at a 7. I need you to be at a 2.
So yeah, she comes in all weepy to fuck up Eli's record, and she tells her friend, she's like, how could you not tell me that the guy you set me up with was a married cocaine dealer? And she's like, fuck, I have been going across town for that. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
He's not gay, so.
Or dead.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Jinx, let me keep shorts forever.
I guess that's
what?
Jinx is done. It's done.
Noah has to let me keep your shorts forever. He can't help you.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Or else his son will die.
Also, I should point out that at this point in the scene, her friend that she's gone to weep at says, oh, and by the way, I've been reading that Bible of yours, and I'm a Christian now too. Hooray. And that's actually how this movie plays this scene, is that oh, look, but there's some good news. Her slutty friend is also going to wait for marriage now.
And Pamela goes, neat. And then she goes to the door, turns around and goes, but I still love Jordan. It's the weirdest acting choice in the way she says it, like it's the end of a 30-minute sitcom. Just like her friend's going to laugh and it's going to end in a freeze frame. Just but I still love Jordan. Do. Pam.
Yeah, like it was her goddamn catchphrase. Yeah, unreal.
Oh, I want to make the show, but I still love Jordan, where Jordan just does increasingly criminal and violent things. And at the end of the show, she goes, but I still love Jordan. Bam.
Yep. Modern day Archie Bunkers. So
I feel like this universe is about to converge with loving the bad man. Still loving the bad man, whatever.
So now we check.
Loving the Jordan.
Loving the
it rhymes.
Glad man.
So now we check back in on Jordan. And mom's been assed out drunk all day. She's laying on the couch. Well, first the daughter is launched into the goddamn scene from a fucking Saturn V. And then, he sends her up to play the I'm Gonna Beat Your Mommy music real loud.
And did he give her like a handful of cocaine vials to throw out at the beginning of this?
Handful of nickels. Yes, he does.
That's what happens, right?
Okay.
Pretty sure that's what happens.
Go put some change in the meter.
So he wakes his wife up to divorce her. Now, this is, again, an odd blocking choice because the way he does this is sits down on the couch, puts her feet up on his lap, starts rubbing her feet, and goes, I'm going to divorce you. I don't love you anymore.
Yeah, he's like the way I come home, just giving her a foot rub. How was your day? I'm committing you to an insane asylum. Ugh, traffic was the worst.
Yeah, well, we'll get to the committing in just a second. But yeah, at first he says and oh, by the way, I've also met this other girl. And she's like, who are you fucking? He's like, I'm not fucking her. She's Christian. And like every goddamn non-Christian person in one of these stupid fucking movies, her response is, Christian, you mean like God, Jesus? Ugh. That's her actual fucking line.
Yeah, I wanted her to be like Dior? No, the giant religion. Oh, okay, got it. I'm on the same page.
Oh, I see. That makes a lot more sense, though, with the way I was thinking it'd be like you calling me N-word in the middle of that conversation earlier. Yeah.
It was onward, Noah. It was onward, obviously.
Christian, the head of the BHS swim team when Eli went to high school? No, the religion.
So, and she goes, she
that
says,
guy's real name.
Couldn't I have to cut it out now?
It's probably not allowed.
So
now that I think about it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to give everyone his cell phone.
Yeah, this is the important part that we cut. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's the bad part. But she goes, I love it too, because this is the middle of the I want to divorce you conversation. So she's like, but Jordan, you don't believe in that Jesus stuff. And he goes, I've been reading the Bible for over a year. And I wanted so bad for her to go, say anything about divorce in there?
Yeah, right.
There may be a section on that. But then the scene gets so much fucking darker.
Yeah.
Because he says, oh, and also, by the way, I found you a group home with Alcoholics Anonymous that I am going to have you forcibly committed to.
Is that? Can you? She could just be like, no.
Yes,
right?
she can.
And take half his cocaine money?
Well, can you? I'm asking for a friend. Heath's the friend.
No, that can't be done.
Maybe also
although
Andrew.
it could be a lot we could do with that loft. Anyway, get back with me. Get back. We'll talk to Andrew. So the bad guy says to the good guy, please don't put me in a home and abandon me, my husband. But of course, he does.
Yeah, he's like, you're being gross about this.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, she totally forgets the daughter's name, but not in character, because you could see the alcoholic mom forgetting her daughter's name. But she's like, but I love you, Jordan. And that little fat kid that comes running onto the screen.
Yes,
black daughter.
She goes, all I need is you and,
Name that
tickle my
character.
tongue. It's weird because we're, but
Toast. What's my daughter's name?
Also, this movie turns into an Eli Twitter conversation too at this point, because she's like, I'm going to divorce you. She's like, I'm going to commit you. She's like, I swear I'll have you killed. Wow. Really? That the next place you went?
Well, she says, I swear I'll have you killed. And his reaction is to put a finger to his lips and be like, shh.
Now, come on. It doesn't work if you tell me you're hiring to hit me.
Right. Who are you going to use? Tony? You're going to use Tony? Really? I won't see Tony coming? That guy fucking sucks.
And now we move to another scene, which you could be forgiven for not noticing, because it takes place in the same fucking location with the same actress wearing the same clothes in the same position with the same lenses.
How did you know it was another scene then?
Because he suddenly just goes, hey, honey, you remember when I was telling you 3 lines ago about that home. The people are here now. I've packed your thing.
I thought he just had it set up fast. He's just had the henchman there. He's like, I'm going to divorce her, and you guys just be ready right around the hallway. And
Yeah, those Alcoholic Anonymous kidnappers.
Well, right, because he's like, now you can do this on your own, or they can drag your ass out like an overbooked United flight. What do you want, bitch? The good guy.
Turns out Million Little Pieces wasn't true, guy. I need you to calm down. It was a book on Oprah about a gentleman who wanted money.
Yes, that it was. So where all the good literature goes is Oprah. So meanwhile, back at work, the gay guy from Designing Women is still fucking with her for the dick drought.
Anthony Bouvier.
Well done, sir.
Mashak Taylor plays the character, I believe.
Well done, sir. Well, he knows his 80s sitcoms. Holy
Got it
shit.
down, Designing Women, delightful show, Delta Burke.
Keep going.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. I also like Here's the Boss. Zach Morris, Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Perspicacious.
Mario Lopez. Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Lark Voorhees.
John Leguizamo.
Dustin Diamond.
So, okay.
I don't know what we're doing.
He's reading off IMDb, I think, at this point. But anyway, so they're at work, and she's having this conversation. And, well, the 3 of them, her and her 2 friends, are having this conversation that plays like, the first few spoken lines before a musical number breaks out. But they're talking.
Will you do? What will you do? What will you do?
What will she do? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, right. But this is never a song.
Annie Potts, by the way, is also in it.
Oh, yeah. She was
Can we point out that girl best friend is wearing it's Eli's birthday silk nightie in this scene, and no one acknowledges it?
Right.
Wearing a magician's handkerchief, and they were just like, wow, that's your choice for this scene. She was like, yep, all out of daytime clothes.
Also, can we talk about the 4th guy in this scene that they're all shouting over?
Who's the trying to do the work?
The guy who's trying to sell real estate?
I want that guy's movie so badly. Just him in HR with just the boss being like, I don't want to be that guy in the office, but they literally just talk about her being a virgin. And I'm not even against gay people, but it's a lot. He's constantly talking about, it's just very disruptive to the work. They always get at the front of the line when there's cake, and I know there's not going to be enough pieces. And that white podcaster dude just shoves himself right in front of me. It's very, very upsetting.
So now we get what I consider, and this is a tough competition, but I think this is the most bizarre scene in the movie.
Wait, was I stealing cake from this guy just now? Is that what happened?
That's a callback to our show. Maybe give it a listen once in a while.
So now we go to this bizarre scene where Jordan shows up.
I'm going to commit you.
At Cocaine Plex headquarters.
Oh, yeah. Which
to
is
a doctor's office.
Yes. It's a dentist's office.
Very clearly.
There's like highlights magazines on the table in the lobby of this international cocaine dealer's office.
Yeah. And we start to realize where they are when he's got his daughter with him, right? He sits her down in the waiting room that cocaine kingpins have, and he says, if I'm not out of there in 5 minutes, you take this phone, you call the police, you run to the elevator. I'm like, why would you bring your fucking daughter to the Cocaine Plex headquarters, you stupid jackass?
Well, who would call the police and run down the stairs if not his daughter?
Well, I mean, we saw the daughter. That daughter is not running down any stairs.
Yeah, 2 thugs come after her, and she's like, bring it, motherfucker. You're fine. We were going to use you to kidnap, but it's...
No, we don't have...
I feel like this is going to be a reverse Taken situation.
Just stiff arms like beast mode. They fly back. Jonathan Vilma.
Just Mean Joe Green tackling them.
So, she is launched like Mean Joe Green in most instances. Yeah. So now we end up, okay, so he goes in to meet his cocaine boss, who, by the way, is the only white person in this movie. So even in cocaine dealing, there's a glass ceiling.
And he's in a suit 19 sizes too big for him. Yes. He looks like he's at the end of Big. Like he had his own big journey, and he's just like Heath at my wedding with the sleeves 7 sizes too long, got a bottle of scotch hidden in each.
You told me where to get that suit. Whatever.
It was bespoke. Yeah, okay, so, and he says to his cocaine dealer, he's like, I want out. And they have the whole, well, you understand the consequences of that, don't you, Mr. Bryant? And he's like, yeah, but I'll go tell the cops about you if you piss me off. And I'm like, oh, that's the right way to get on a coke dealer's good side, right there. Good thing you left your daughter so handy.
But it works. He's just like, hey, for you, I'll make an exception.
Yeah.
Right.
You're so ballsy.
Yeah, the Latino white guy, was he white or Latino? I don't know.
He was a white guy dressed up to look
kind
Latino.
of, made to look Latino. And he's just like, I'm going to murder you. And Jordan's like, well, I'm a Christian, so I won't murder you back. And then it's like, I guess we're at a classic impasse. Are we? We are. Okay.
It's a Mexican standoff. Am I Mexican?
Ask Andrew Torres. So he goes back out after the cocaine dealer has agreed to let him go. And the daughter in the lobby has fallen asleep.
He
was in there for
the daughter.
It was like 3 minutes.
Me too. I'm like, what an awesome twist. If he comes out there and the daughter's strangled to death, it would be like taking, it's like, okay, it took an hour and 15 minutes to get going, but now that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I did not see that coming, but no. She just fell asleep.
So I wanted him to come out and yell at her and be like, fuck, I said to call the guy. You fall asleep, you fat piece of shit. You eat a box of Krispy Kremes, you need to nap it off? Well, 20 seconds.
To be fair, that's probably what happened, but he made us go upstairs and turn the music up real loud.
Receptionist, go back to the office and turn the music up.
Right.
I'm going to beat the shit out of my kid right now.
As loud as I want. I know.
And, okay, so, but now it's time for him to go to church.
First, there's this, like, cute exit part.
Oh, yes.
Where he's like, all right, so I'm going to take off, wave goodbye to the cocaine receptionist. She's like, bye, cocaine receptionist.
Something tells me I'm into something.
Throws her a lollipop. Hey, all right.
Yeah, don't ask to eat that lollipop. Dad's going to hold on to that one. So now he takes his daughter to church, and my notes are just from this point on, 10 minutes left if you don't count the credits, 9 minutes and 50 seconds left if you don't count the credits, pretty much like that to the end.
Well, he's got to have the we just fucked, but I realized I don't know your name conversation with the pastor. It's just like, so, how do we feel about divorce? And the guy's, and again, he can't be like, yeah, that's fine, because he's supposed to be playing a pastor. So he says, I can't be the judge of that?
Yeah.
All right, well, you're pretty much useless then, right? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yep.
Yeah.
Noah did a whole diatribe about that. Yeah.
You like my mustache?
And he's like, now, Pastor, you know that I'm a filthy coke dealer, right? And he's like, dude, I buy from you. Of fucking course I know.
No, I believe you're the black CEO of Merck. I thought that was what was happening. Yeah.
But the pastor's advice here basically is fuck who you love, bro. Pretty much. So now we check in with the abandoned alcoholic wife. And she seems to be doing fine. She's much
at an
happier.
Outdoor AA meeting.
Around a campfire.
Oh, were they out? Okay, that's why it was dark. I was confused by that.
It seems real fun, Heath. Seems real fun. Maybe they roasted marshmallows afterwards, Heath.
I just want to point out that we in no way endorse AA, which has a fucking rate of success approximately equal to just running out of scotch.
Nor do we endorse Heath cutting back on scotch. That's also locked in. Heath's going to keep drinking in the same amount.
It's an amazing way to quit drinking, especially if you follow all 7 steps. I personally have used it to quit several things. Stamp collecting. Never wear them. Check.
So you must start by accepting a higher power and being a Christian.
Isn't that the best way to change your behavior?
To quit stamp collecting by all means, absolutely. But I love this fucking scene because we see the wife going like, you know, I'm so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic and I'm here against my will. It was part of a kidnapping. And her story arc is now resolved.
Yep, that's it.
That's her happy ending. Yeah. So now Jordan goes to see Pamela, and she's still pissed off at him for being a married cocaine dealer. And he demands biblical forgiveness, which always fucks him right up.
And she's like, no. And she slams the door, and then we watch him, like, annoyingly knock at the door for
like an
10
asshole.
minutes.
Yeah, like clearly she knows you're still there, dude. You don't have to ring the bell too.
Pamela. Pam.
And he knows other people live there.
Pamela.
Also, okay, if this character's rich, why do they have him driving around in a 1993 beat-up Tercel? For our younger hosts, the Tercel is an old version of the Toyota Corolla. Anyway.
Then we get a quick shot of In-N-Out Burger for no reason.
Yeah.
Not sure why.
They were trying to make you hungry again. They're like, yeah, we haven't showed Heath any fried chicken or scotch in a
Double
while.
animal style.
So
Heath finds weird places to be happy in our movies.
And then we get this line, ouch, daddy, not so hard. Don't worry, it's not what you think. I was worried because Eli wrote out these notes. I thought he had switched to a different movie. But no, this is Jordan trying to learn to braid his daughter's hair because he's a good dad when he's not committing their mother against her will to a fucking
or raping a
pseudoscience.
stranger.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Or dealing drugs.
Yeah.
Or threatening that stranger and telling him to love him. Or stalking that stranger.
Yeah.
Pretending to be someone else and meeting them somewhere. And then taking his daughter to a drug kingpin's office and leaving her there with instructions to be his getaway driver. Or stalking that woman later at her home.
Well, there was that, yeah. But other than that, stand-up guy.
Protagonist.
So now, okay, so Pamela gets home. She has to buy her letter from Jordan from the sister for $5 again, because remember that? We're still doing that bit.
Yep.
And then she goes up to her room to read the letter. Now, they do the movie, like, voiceover, like him talking as she's reading the letter thing, but like every other movie trope they use, they completely fuck it up because there are other people in the room reacting to his voiceover.
Yeah, like they can hear him.
Nodding along.
But maybe that's just him saying those words because at the end of the letter, he walks into the room.
Again, like the thing with Danny where he was in the room with his friend. Has he just been sitting there all day?
Who knows?
She knows his car. He had to park around the back or something. He had to, take a cab or who the fuck knows? Yeah. So, but the whole family is standing in the room as she reads this letter where he proposes to marry her, and then he walks in with his ring or whatever.
Right. And we're supposed to think it's very nice. He got her the nicest thing they have at Zales.
Yeah.
The chocolate diamond. Or as the people in this movie call it, a diamond.
Okay, so yeah, and by the way, when you're a cocaine dealer, you can afford much better rocks than that. Anyway, long, awkward, uncomfortable kiss, and the family's really super happy because they have plans for that room that they should have been using for 22 years. And then, for what I believe is the first time in 89 movies, we actually get a Breakfast Club close.
Yeah, they beat us to it.
Yeah.
Also, we get a Breakfast Club close for someone named Margaret Ellis. Who is that character?
Yeah, like they're giving us fucking shit from characters we haven't even met. Like we were going to put her in a movie. And also, like they have the most boring, inane Breakfast Club close. It's like Jordan and Pamela are now married and live in Bel Air. Like, ooh, fancy.
Plus, they have a wacky nephew from Philadelphia. And then all of a sudden, the music starts. Now, this is the story all about how. That would
yeah, right. No, it was the preteens.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
If this was a prequel to Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
They said they have 3 kids. They did say 3 kids, yeah.
Guys, it's a prequel to Bel Air, a sequel to Cocoon 7, and a not funny version of 40-year-old version. We solved it just as
I think so. And then
on the playground is where I spent most of my days. That
is true.
Eli Bosnick story.
Now that I have shorts long enough to conceal my boner.
So,
dude, are they down to your ankles? What's going on?
No, they're basically long pants for me.
Yeah, no, they are. I've seen it.
You're much taller than me.
And
why do you want them even? They couldn't possibly be comfortable. Whatever.
They make me feel powerful.
And then we get, okay, movie's over now, but then we get the funniest goddamn moment in the entire movie, and I think we all have this in our notes. Yes, we do. When they come up in the credits and it says cast, it says in parentheses in alphabetical order, and then they list the cast with absolutely no relation to the alphabet.
No, they do not. It is the best.
They just think that that's a thing you say, I guess.
Yep, it's like the Vultures of Horror and that green screen at the beginning. They just think that's how movies end.
Yeah. No, just to give you an idea, the last names of the first actors that they list: Peniston, Brooks, Jenkins, Coffin, Pugh, Carpenter, Bryce, DePina, Lane. No, and it doesn't get better if you count in the first names or the characters' names. No, they just had that already in parentheses, and they're like, fuck it, I'm not changing it. All right, so dare I ask, what is the moral of this story?
The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
I think that's the best answer anyone could give. Okay, moving on. So in order to sort of rate this movie altogether, obviously it would be racist if we withheld stars or gave it 3/5 as many stars as we gave white movies. So we're not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to ask you a racially sensitive question to close. Where would you say this movie ranked in terms of historical experiences for Black Americans?
Second place? Counting up.
Yeah.
Counting the way I'm not racist, whichever. Second.
And as hesitant as I am to ask, Eli?
I'm going to give this a solid Charles Murray.
He's just misunderstood.
Wait, who?
Sam was very clear about that.
Who's Charles Murray?
And why would this be episode 88? I don't get it.
He's a number chiropractor.
Do you mean Charlie Murphy?
Charlie, are you on casual names with the pseudoscientist and race scientist Charles Murray?
No.
You mean Chuck Murray? Sea Dog Murray? Hey, Heath, if you want not to seem racist, ending the episode with your nickname for Charles Murray is a bad way to do it. Chucky?
None of this
about Chucky Murray?
A very large misunderstanding to what's happening right now. Charlie Murphy is an African-American person who passed away recently.
Charles Murray is not an African-American person.
Charlie Murphy.
Charles Murray wrote The Bell Curve.
And, well, that's going to do it for our review of Don't Touch If You Ain't Prayed. Several minutes too late. That is not going to do it for the episode just yet because we still need to lock this in for next week. So, Eli, tell us, what's on deck?
End of Days.
The Arnie one.
Schwarzenegger?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hey, it is, okay. He saves himself via Jesus. He's an atheist, but only because his wife is killed, and he fights the devil. Come on!
Yeah,
it's a Christian movie.
I'm just like, I'm so happy. After the fucking bullshit we had to deal with this week, I'm like, oh, good. Bad Arnie acting will seem really good after that. You know what? I'm going to toss out in advance best, worst lesbian incest. I'm just going to give you that right up front. So with best, worst lesbian incest to look forward to, we're going to bring episode 89 to a merciful close. Once again, a huge thanks to all the Patreon donors that help make the show go. If you'd like to count yourself among their ranks, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/godawful and thereby earn early access to an ad-free version of every episode. You can also help us a ton by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes and by sharing the show on all your various social media platforms. And if you enjoyed this show, be sure to check out our sibling shows, The Scathing Atheist and The Skeptocrat, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever else podcasts live. If you have questions, comments, or cinematic suggestions, you can email godawfulmovies@gmail.com. Legal services for this podcast are provided by the law offices of P. Andrew Torres. Our theme song was written and performed by Ryan Slotnick of Evil Drafts on Mars. All other music was written and performed by our audio engineer, Morgan Clark, and was used with permission. Thanks again for giving us a chunk of your life this week. For Heath Enwright and Eli Bosnick, I'm Noah Lugeons, promising to work hard to earn another chunk next week. Until then, we'll leave you with a Breakfast Club close.
There is a sequel to this movie, and Andrew's not going to let us do it.
Grandpa couldn't believe nobody realized it was blackface.
Heath realized his mom's friend Chuck was a race scientist and no longer went to Thanksgiving.
All right.
So now, Morgan, get your shit together. When I say Rocky rock music, all right? Look, you got an old man cough. You can't handle it. Let me know. All right?
The preceding podcast was a production of Puzzle and a Thunderstorm, LLC. Copyright 2017. All rights reserved.
You bring your phone everywhere. Work, school, the movies. Now you can bring it to an Xfinity store for an easy way to switch to Xfinity Mobile, a new kind of network designed to save you money. You can get up to 5 lines of talk and text included with Xfinity Internet at no extra cost, so all you pay for is data. It's never been easier to switch to Xfinity Mobile and keep the phone you love. Click here to see how. Sorry, I gotta take this. Restrictions apply. Limited to select mobile phones. Requires activation of a new line of Xfinity Mobile. Up to 5 devices per account. New Xfinity Internet customers limited to up to 2 lines pending activation of Internet service.